So I've been thinking about this for a long time. And here's what I believe now. Every serious life has a moment of original orientation, a moment when possibility opened in a way that changed the direction of everything that followed. Not a decision exactly, more like a recognition, a knowing, something you saw or felt or understood that you spent the rest of your life trying to rediscover and feel again or to live up to. I was in my teens, and I'll tell you about it today. Not because my story is unusual, but because I think it points to something that matters enormously right now in the middle of this AI moment. I'm not going to over-explain this. Some experiences resist explanation. What I can tell you is that it arrived without invitation, a depth presence I had no framework for, a sense that reality was larger than the surface of things, that there was something underneath the ordinary flow of events that was worth giving life to. I didn't have language for it then, and I've spent the decades since finding language for it. 50 years of reading across wisdom, traditions, philosophy, theology, contemplative practice, psychology, literature, not as an academic exercise, but as a systematic attempt to understand what I had glimpsed, to test it again, to test it against every serious framework I could find, and just to try to live well, to see whether it held. It held. I've spent 40 years there, over 40 years in enterprise technology, in and out. And I've worked at the highest levels of global orientation. My experience is deep and wide. I have watched this industry from the inside and through every wave that it has created. And there was a period, a long one, when the technology work and the inner life work ran on separate tracks. I was doing the job, and separately and privately, I was doing the reading, the meditation, the practice, the goof community, and the slow, patient work of trying to become someone whose outer life and inner life actually connected. AI moment changed that. Not because AI is spiritual. It's not. But because AI surfaced a question that I had been living privately, and suddenly everyone needed to answer it. What does it mean to remain human in the middle of an extraordinary technological capability and advancement? The question I had been working on since the moment in my mid-teens. Turned out to be exactly the question the moment required. And here's what I've learned about possibility. Most people think of it as oneness, options, room to move, and that's part of it. But real possibility, the kind worth embracing, is not neutral. It is not just a blank space waiting to be filled. Real possibility has a direction. It opens towards something specific, toward what you are actually made for, toward the intersection of your genuine capabilities, your deepest commitments, and the actual needs of the world around you. Frankl called that meaning. The wisdom traditions call it the vocation. I call it the thing you cannot not do. And the work of your life is to stay close enough to it that you don't spend your years optimizing in the wrong direction. So what does AI have to do with all of this? Here's why I'm telling you this in a video about AI. AI is a possibility amplifier. Whatever direction you are moving, it can help you move faster, further, with more apparent capability. I mean, my mind is blown every day. Think it and expand on the thought with AI. It's miraculous. It just blows me away. And there'll be other examples. I mean, things I do at work, things I do in my personal time. It's just so much fun and mind-boggling. Yes, but it can make it so much deeper. I grew up with encyclopedias. That's extraordinary to have that genius assistant at your beck and call. That's exactly why orientation matters more now than it ever has. Because the tools don't care which direction you're pointed in. It's just like when you say things, negative things, your subconscious mind doesn't know that would be bad for you. It just accepts it as fact. I'm not good at blank. Anyway, you've got to be on solid ground as a person, and as a person wielding this tool or these tools, because they are amoral. It's just a tool. It's a hammer. More a multi-tool, Swiss Army knife, anything and everything digital. But those tools are fantastic. They will serve any goal with equal efficiency. Be it benevolent, good for everyone, for the common good, or something less, or something more malevolent. They will serve any goal with equal efficiency. The question of which goal is worth your life, your time, your attention. And that's not in the model. It's in you. And that battery must be charged. So you better be getting your 7-8 hours of sleep and taking care of yourself. Okay. This core, this you, can only be found through a kind of honest, patient, sometimes uncomfortable self-examination that no tool can do on your behalf. This is where the meditation comes in. This is where the body work and the breath work, the Tai Chi, in the front yard, in the sunshine, the water, all those things come into play. Mystical experience I had in my teens didn't come with any instructions. I don't think we've gotten to it here, or we have before, but I need to come back to it. Anyway, it was something I experienced on my skateboard. But it came with a question. What are you going to do with what you've seen and felt? And I've been answering and questioning and living with that and searching for it again ever since. And I don't think I'm unusual in having that version of it. It was just a Zen moment. I think most people hopefully have moments like that. A moment or a relationship or a loss or a recognition that pointed towards something real. You know, pay close attention when things get real. The question is whether you stay close enough to it to let it guide you in the direction you're moving, especially now, especially when the tools can take you so fast and so far. So here's what the daily practice is. And I'll tell you what I've been building. For the last several years, I have been developing something I call the daily practice. Not a productivity system, kind of practice of staying oriented, keeping the inner life and the outer life connected, and the use of technology in a deliberate way without surrendering the capacity for depth that makes the technology worth anything. It draws on everything I've ever read. Weil on attention, Frankel on meaning, the contemplative traditions on presence, 40 years of enterprise technology on what the tools actually do to human behavior, the practice of reading, reflection, conscious AI use that I've refined over years. And that's what this channel's about, not AI tips, not productivity hacks. I mean, those are a dime a dozen. You can find them everywhere. I can show you what I do, how I do it, if there are any questions. But this is about you in this age, making sense of it. Serious conversation about what it means to remain whole in this age that is pulling very hard in the direction of pure fragmentation. 3-second hits, 1-second hits. I started this video by saying every serious life has a moment of original orientation, a moment when possibility opened. I believe that moment is available to all of us again right now, not in spite of the AI moment, but because of it, because the questions this technology is forcing. What is a human being for? What must never be delegated? What does it mean to live from inside out rather than outside in? Those are the most important questions a person can sit with. And sitting with them seriously is itself a practice of embracing possibility, the deepest kind. And if this conversation has been what you've been waiting for, subscribe, come along. I publish here weekly, almost daily. And if you want to understand more about the larger project, the NEOSIS report, what the date asks, any advisory work, perhaps, or writing, the link is below. I'd love to hear. I'd love to have you in the room, in the conversation, part of the dialogue. Join us at the symposium. I'll buy you a drink. See you next time.